In this video, we'll look at the methods for adding people to your PCRecruiter database, including candidates, applicants, hiring contacts, clients, and so forth. In PCRecruiter, every name must be associated with a company or organization record. If you're adding a hiring contact, their name record will likely be created under a company record that represents their organization or department. When you're adding a candidate, you usually will not be creating a company for them, but will instead be adding them to the default company. You may have multiple contacts to associate with a client company, as well as job openings, and so you'll want to keep a master record to track everything you're doing with that company. But with candidates, you generally don't need to have a company record to represent their current employer because that company won't be handled as an independent entity for your purposes in placing them. It's just a data point in your information about the candidate. The database's default company acts as a special, single company record in the system to serve as your general talent pool. PCRecruiter offers a few different ways to add a name to the system. The most common way is the Quick Add utility, which you'll find in the upper right corner. We click on this icon and choose whether we're adding a name, company, or position. We're going to select Name. Now we're presented with the choice to manually enter a record, parse the contact info from a resume, or import information from a list. To begin, let's look at the manual entry option, which you're likely to use if you're adding a client or some other contact that you don't have a resume document for. After we click Start, the entry screen appears. At the top, we have a search box in which we can look up an existing company record if we want to add this new name to a company record that's already on file. If we leave that box empty, PCRecruiter will assign this name to the default company. One shortcut that's available on this screen is a clipboard icon to the right of the last name field. If you click this icon and then paste contact info into the box, say from a person's email signature, document, or web listing, PCRecruiter will attempt to parse the basic contact details into the fields for you to save you some typing. One field you'll want to pay special attention to is the status field. PCRecruiter uses this field to indicate whether the person is a candidate, a contractor or temp, hiring authority, employee, or manager. The default choice is candidate, but if this person is a client, you'll likely want to mark them with the status of hiring authority, so it's clear later on that this isn't someone you're going to try and place. After we click Next, we click Finish to save the record. If you think you may need to make edits before saving, the candidate option on the left will allow you to readjust before saving. Click Close to leave the window. Now let's look at how the process works when we have a resume. We'll start by clicking the icon at the top of the window again, select Name, and this time we'll choose Parse from Resume. This causes the Add Resume utility to appear. Now we use the Open icon to browse for a resume file from the computer. As an alternative, you can copy the resume and then click the Paste button, but uploading the actual file usually yields better results. The system will then parse the contact info into the fields. You can then augment the record with additional info or correct anything that didn't come through as you'd intended. In addition, you have the option to link the record to a company, specify the source, link the record to a job, and add the name to a roll-up list. The Check for Duplicates option is on by default. Checking the International Parser option can sometimes improve the parsing results with resumes that include contact info in non-US formats. When we're done, clicking Save stores the record in the database. We can then click the button to jump to the new record, or just close the windows. Now that we've seen how the Quick Entry utility works, let's look at other places where a new name record can be added to the database. As we discussed earlier, all names must be associated with some company in the system. When you perform a company search, the action pull-down next to each company result includes the option to add a name or add a resume. These two choices launch the same manual entry and resume parsing windows we used earlier, only now the system knows automatically which company to add that new record to. If you want to get to your default company at any time, you can click Company in the main menu and then use the Display Default Company icon from the Actions menu. Also, if you're viewing a specific company record, there are Add Name and Add Resume icons in the Actions menu at the upper right corner of the company record. And if you're looking at a name record, you'll find an Add Name option in the Actions panel there to create an additional name under the same company as the one that this name record belongs to. Lastly, if we select View Names from the company record or from the company search results, the screen which lists all of the names in that company includes the same Add Name and Add Resume choices in the Actions menu.